Mindful Kitchen, our third episode of the series that our three experts, Enrico Porfido, Sean Leonard, and Shona Chalmers, have put together as part of our Food Choice for Life project, which is an EU initiative that we have launched last October. Hello, Shona.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. Nice to see you all.
So in this final high impact webinar, we have the Professor Shona Chalmers that will break down the secrets of menu psychology, including that golden triangle and the high visibility placement to drive better climate smarter smart orders. So I think we have a lot to talk is our final episode. So we start with the theory of food systems, how to reduce food waste in the kitchen, and now how to communicate with the client. So Shona, do you want to say a couple of words for this series, maybe? I don't know, for your colleagues, for today's episode, everything.
Well, I'd like to say welcome to everyone. I'll do a formal welcome in a minute, but I just want to say thank you all for being here. I'm Chef Shona Chalmers. Many of you have seen me before. I am the chair for the World Chefs Feed the Planet Committee. I've worked closely with Sean and Enrico on creating this amazing piece for all of you. I hope you've been enjoying it so far. I'm really excited to share what we're going to do today and look forward to hearing back from you too.
That's amazing. So I'm going to let you go. I know you have a lot to say. I just want to inform everybody that for this cycle of webinars, we have put for you AI translation. I'm going to put a link in this chat. And if you have Zoom desktop, just click the link and you'll be able to profit this webinar in 60 different languages, even in English, if you just want to have captions to what Shona's saying. So I'm going to share the link just in a minute and feel free to profit. And with me, we will meet in the end.
All right, fabuloso. I am going to share now. And this is such a great day. I welcome everyone and thank you for joining us for the third and final webinar in the Mindful Kitchen series with Food Choices for Life. I'm really happy to be with you for this final session because this is where learning starts to move from understanding the kitchen and into action, into real guest influence. My name is Shona Chalmers, as I said, and today we're talking about how chefs can move from influence to impact, not by preaching, not by making sustainability really heavy, but by shaping the food choices that happen every day through menus, through service, and simple experiences. I want this session to feel really useful. If you're busy, if your team is stretched, if you don't have time for a giant new program, that's exactly why this session was built this way. We're going to focus on small changes that chefs can actually use. So, let's just talk about what we've learned so far. So in the first webinar, we had Enrico help us step back from the past, get out of the kitchen, and look at the big food system, right? The bigger picture. Chefs are not outside of that system. We're right in the middle of it. Menu choices we make, the suppliers we choose, the products we feature, the food experiences we create, all connect to a wider system of people, policies, farms, businesses, and consumers. I think it's an important starting point because it reminds us that chefs are not just reacting to a food system, we're helping to shape it. We're right in the middle of it. Now, let's connect to what we had learned with Sean in the second webinar. He brought us that big picture into the kitchen. We looked at waste, circular thinking, smarter menu planning, whole product use, team motivation, and the idea that food saved is not only good for the planet, as we all know, it's good for business. A kitchen that reduces waste is often more creative, more efficient, and of course, more profitable. So, by this point in the series, we understand the system, we understand kitchen actions, because we've all been paying attention, taking notes, and starting to put these things into action. And today we ask, what happens when that food leaves the kitchen, right? So that's where we start from today. So, how chefs shape, inspire, and activate choices. This final session is about the guest-facing side of sustainability. It's about how we help people choose, not by lecturing, not by putting climate change all over the menu. Sean mentioned this as well, and not by making anyone feel judged. We're going to look at how small changes in language, placement, service tracking, and events can make climate smart choices feel easier, more delicious, and more normal. So this is going to be your roadmap for today. So we'll start in menu psychology. This is going to zoom by. I promised I will have you moving through this and feeling really confident in what we've learned by the end of this time. We're going to talk about how people make decisions when they look at a menu. Then we're going to talk about some simple tracking techniques, because if we make changes but never measure them, we're really just guessing. After that, we'll look at front of the house training, because a good menu needs a team that can support it naturally. Then we'll move into event action, especially how chefs can take part in Food Choices for Life Info Week. We'll finish by connecting this back to the wider project and then leave time for questions. Please, if you have questions, put them in the Q&A. I will also be asking you to be a part of the chat to keep you engaged as well. We want to make sure that you are fully understanding what's happening here. I will manage if there's any questions really pressing. Please feel free to share them and we will get to them. Before we go any further, I want to ask a question. So you're sitting. How many food decisions do you think your guests make before they place an order? Type it in the chat for me right now. What kind of food decisions are they making before they even order when they sit down? Come on, I know you're all here. So let me see what your thoughts are in the chat. And we'll see what people are thinking. Tell me, do. Let's see. What kind of decisions are people making before they even sit down? When they're sitting and they've decided, what am I going to order today? What are they deciding? What should I try? Yeah. Location and prices. Yeah. Cost is a big one. Ambience. Price budget is a big one. What's the best food? How long is it going to take to prepare? Yeah, because they might not have a lot of time. These are great, great answers. Eye appeal, reputation. That's even before they walk in the door, too. I love it. You've all got it, right? You understand what people do. So they decide the section of the menu to look at. They decide on what sounds familiar. These are great ones coming in. If it's healthy, I love it. Oh, media coverage, skill of the chef. Wow, you're way beyond what I had in here. This is fabulous. What feels exciting? What feels safe to some people? What they can afford, right? Recommendation on socials. Yeah, that's a big one. What the server recommends too. What the dish sounds like. Is it going to satisfy them, right? Sometimes people think it sounds great, but I don't know if that's something I can do. So this is all the things that people do before. Most of it happens so quickly. So if we want people to choose a more climate-friendly food, we can't rely only on information. We need to decide the choice better. Today is about practical tools in menu design, team language, simple tracking, and food events that inspire action beyond the plate. So you have to think what happens after your guests leave you. That's where we're moving to. The big idea is simple. Small changes in how we present food can create lasting changes in how people choose food. So why does this matter, right? This matters because most of the decisions happen right at the point of order, right? Don't worry about being late. None of us are late. We're all here to learn. It happens at the point of order. Many guests do care about food. They care about health, they care about climate, and they care about sustainability. But care does not always come to action. People are busy, they're hungry, they're there with friends, they're looking for something that sounds good. That means chefs have a real opportunity to guide without pressure. We can make better choices, more appealing, and easier to say yes to. Now, this isn't manipulation. Some people might think so. This is thoughtful hospitality, okay? So where you influence your guests. A chef's influence can start before the guest tastes anything. It starts with the menu, the order of the dishes, the description, the signage, if you have features, the look and feel of the experience during service. The influence comes from the server, the presentation, The little comments that help the guest feel confident. Yeah, they're looking for delicious food, right? And after the meal, influence becomes memory. What they enjoyed, what they talked about, what they might try. Again, at home. So we're not only shaping one order or one food dish, we may be shaping long-lasting habits for our consumers and our guests. So let's start with the menu. It's where everybody looks at. This is a great menu. I saw this when we were at the World Chefs Congress this year in Wales, Riverbank Restaurant. A fabulous chef shared with us some of what they do there. So I wanted to put this up. I thought it was a beautiful menu. So menu psychology sounds like a big term, but for chefs, it comes down to a simple idea. The menu is not just a list. It's a decision tool. Where you place the dish on your menu matters. What you call it matters. Whether it feels like the normal choice or the alternative matters. If a plant-forward dish is buried at the bottom or is described like a compromise, it'll probably perform like a compromise and won't sell. But if it's placed where people look at it first, described with flavor and technique, please remember this, described with flavor and technique. We'll come back to this. And presented as a confident chef choice, it becomes much easier to order. This slide gives a few key ideas. So you want to have things at the top of the menu for high visibility. The first item gets more attention. Anyone who's written a menu or been in a place knows that this is the case. The first items get more attention, and descriptive names help guests imagine the dish. You don't want to get too wordy. We know that's not the way of menus right now, and all the defaults, the things that are the norm is what guides behavior. So some of you may have heard of how your eyes look on a menu. Has anyone in the chat mentioned it? If you've seen how your eyes go, what do they do? Do you read like a book, or is it another way? Is there any way that you've seen sort of through research what people do with their eye pattern in a menu? It'll help you decide where people are going to go to look for things. Anyone? I'm a good waiter in waiting time, that is. Oh, fun. Saccade. Yep. So this is what most, right? Menu psychology. So a lot of times people are going to focus at the center first. You're going to look right in the middle, see what's there. Yeah, you check the whole menu, but then you go up to the right and over to the left. Now, some of you are going to disagree with me, but try it and you're going to see it's what your eye pattern normally does. You go up, over, right, up, right, over to the left, right? It's this golden triangle. So these are the spots. Yeah, I look for price too. But first glance, you're going to see these things. Then your eyes are going to be pulled to what the spacing is like, if there's any headings, if there's any boxes, photos, icons, or what I call magnets. So these things that pull your eyes to it, right? The important point is if we want climate smart menu to sell, like an item, we can't hide it. We have to put it where people naturally look. Give it room, make it feel intentional, but don't highlight everything on the menu. If everything is boxed and starred and flowered all around, then nothing is special, right? They do want one special menu choice. That's right. Choose one or two dishes that you want to guide attention to. So let's look at this menu. I did a really simple putting this psychology into practice, right? I'm going to give you 4 or 5 seconds to look at this menu. So at first glance, they look really different, right? But the food is exactly the same. The chicken hasn't changed, the salmon hasn't changed, the bison hasn't changed. I'm in Canada, we like bison. The only difference is that we've highlighted the maple roasted seasonal vegetable bowl as the chef's feature. So let me ask you a question, because you're all smart. Which do you think would sell more vegetable bowls? Put it in the chat, the left or the right? Come on, this is an easy one. Most vegetable bowls are going to sell how? I'm hoping this is flipped the right way. So most people, we're getting a little half and half, are going to say the one on the right with the chef's feature is going to sell more because it's the power of a nudge, right? That is, we haven't taken any choices away. We've simply made one option easier to notice and more appealing. We've made it a little bigger, we've highlighted it, we've said that it's the chef's favorite. This is something every chef can do. You don't need a whole new menu idea or a bigger budget or a complete redesign of concept. Sometimes a small change in placement or presentation is enough to influence what guests choose. So we're nudging towards where we want them to choose. Now, you can do this for cost, you can do this for all kinds of things. Today, we're talking about how to influence consumers' behavior towards moving into a more climate-friendly food options. When they leave your place, they're going to make changes to this afterwards, right? So in this menu shift, right, once the guest sees the dish, the next question is, does it sound good? This is one of the simplest changes a chef can make. At the bottom here, you see it says vegetable stew. That might be accurate, but doesn't really create much appetite, as we know. So slow braised seasonal vegetables. It starts to feel like a dish with technique, with care, warmth, and flavor. That doesn't mean we need long, overwritten menu descriptions. Please don't start doing that. We all know modern menu language should be clear, honest, concise, and delicious. The main point here is I want you to be subtle in how you put in your ideas of sustainability, but I want you to be clear with leading with flavor and technique. So if you lead with flavor and technique, then support it with the sustainable story if it fits. So instead of leading with low carbon or sustainable, because nobody wants to eat that, we might say wood roasted seasonal squash or whole animal braised beef. The guest buys the flavor first. The values that they have support the choice afterwards, right? So communication that works. One of the key messages today is that behavior change happens through environment, not instruction. We can tell guests what they should do, but often that creates resistance. I can tell you 100% if someone tells me what to do, I will not be doing it. Or we can design the environment so the better choice is easier. It lets them feel like they're doing it themselves. So you put the climate smart dish at the top or make it the chef feature. Make seasonal vegetables the default side, and then offer meat as an add-on on some dishes, instead of making it the center of the plate every time. We were taught, and I was taught, to put your meat in the middle of the plate and then put things with it. Flip the narrative, right? There's an example here. Instead of steak with veg, try a roasted vegetable platter with an optional grilled steak add-on. The guest still has a choice, but the default has shifted, and that's climate smart nudging. So people start to think, oh, I can have all these beautiful vegetables because these platters are beautiful. And if I wanted to add on a little bit of protein or something else to it, a steak or chicken or fish, then it's there, right? It's there as an add-on. It doesn't feel less than. So a menu can do a lot, but it can't do everything by itself. Next, we bring the team and tracking in. So we've talked about what to change on the menu. Now we need to ask practical kitchen questions. Will anyone actually do this when the service starts? That depends on two things: whether your team understands the change that you've made and whether you have a simple way to see if it worked. This next section is about keeping it realistic for busy chefs. So you need to engage your team. If your team doesn't understand the dish, the guest won't either. Absolutely. That doesn't mean your servers need a sustainability lecture. They need one simple line that feels natural. At the same time, we need one simple measure. Did the dish sell more? Did the plates come back clean? Did guests comment on it? The goal is not perfect data. The goal is learning. If we change one menu item and track one result, we start to understand what actually shifts behavior in our own operation, whether it's small, large, food truck, to hospitals, to restaurants, to hotels. So let's make this tracking chef-proof because we need to be able to track it easy. I know how busy people are. We can't This is the most important word in tracking, is keeping it simple. If the system takes 10 minutes, it's going to disappear by Friday. You're not going to do it. If it takes 10 seconds during service and 1 minute at the end of the week, chefs, teams, you all can use this, right? So here's the approach. Don't track the whole menu. It's too much. Pick one plant-forward dish or one climate-smart feature. Maybe it's a roasted tahini glazed cauliflower steak, which I quite love. This is a nice one that I've made. Maybe it's an offering of an optional medium or small portion of the same dish, like changing the sizes up. Maybe it's a bean dish you've moved to the top of the menu. During service, use a simple tally near the pass or one of those easy whiteboards that you can write on rub off. At the end of the shift, compare it to a similar dish. So another appetizer or main course, whatever it is. The question isn't, did we save the planet today? The question is, did this menu change move that number? That's useful information, right? Left example here, you just make a tick each time the new dish sells. Then compare it at the end of a week or two. Is it increasing? Did any of it matter, right? On the right example, you make a tick for your climate-friendly dish, so you mark how many you did, and one of a similar dish, so maybe a chicken dish or a beef dish that's an entree as well. And then at the end of the week, see if it's moved at all, because you've changed where it is. So these are, for a very busy kitchen, we can make it even easier. So the tracking can be as simple as one question. Did more people order the dish this week? All you have to do is count how many. And you can use your POS system for this if you want. Yes or no. At the end of the week, write down one insight. Like, I moved the dish to the top and the sales increased. Or I renamed the dish and more orders were taken. Or the server mentioned it with that one line description. And this is not research. This is kitchen learning. It helps chef stop guessing and start adjusting with confidence. Now let's define what success really looks like. Because what should you look for? We, as a breed of people, we always look for perfection as chefs. We're not looking for perfection. We're looking for movement. More orders of a target dish or less waste on the plate. More staff recommending it because they love it as well. A few more dishes sold each week can be a win. Guests not complaining about the dish can even be a win. The team actually talking about the dish can also be a win. Track for 2 weeks after the change, then adjust and repeat. We'll get to that in a second, but that's how it becomes a practical improvement cycle, not another report that sits on a shelf that no one ever reads. Let's talk about how people can make these choices feel natural in a dining room. So the training, here we are. So this is a simple pattern. You're going to we're moving to the front of the house. And the key phrase here is keep it natural. The best climate-friendly selling is it should not feel like selling at all. It should feel like a confident recommendation of good food. Here's what that looks like in practice, because we all need practical things. I never want any of our learning to feel pie in the sky, like it's just something out there. This is training that is natural. So it's a simple pattern. Rename a dish, move the placement, brief the team, then watch what happens. The reason this works is that the guest receives the same signal from the same places, from the menu, from the team, from the pictures, from everything. The menu makes the dish appealing. The placement makes it visible. And the server makes it feel like a safe choice. None of that's heavy. Again, it's just better hospitality. We're not leaning into it. We're just nudging, right? So that this is a better choice. Now we get very practical with the language staff can use. You want to teach one line selling to your staff. One of my favorite examples is, we serve this dish with seasonal veg. Let me know if you'd prefer it with fries. So this is a huge behavioral shift with no pressures. A lot of times over here, you automatically get fries. The vegetables are the normal choice. Fries are still available because there's no one being judged, but we're nudging towards a more climate-friendly option. Another useful line that I love is, "This dish has been really popular tonight." That gives the guests confidence. The important thing is to avoid making staff sound scripted. If they say too much, it can feel performative, they're going to stumble on it. And we really want to avoid lines like, "This is our sustainable low carbon option that we sourced from local ingredients." Nobody wants it. They're going to stop listening. Although it might be accurate, it doesn't really make people hungry or want to order the dish at all. So let's turn to a few simple training rules with this simple chart here. So the training can be very short. Teach one-line selling, lead with flavor every time, and technique, of course. Avoid words that can feel political, guilty, or too technical. Guess by comfort, curiosity, and flavor. They respond to words that we love to use. It's smoky, rich, fresh, roasted, satisfying. If they ask for more information, then you can share the sustainability story happily, but do not start with carbon. Do not start with climate. Do not start with the guest's responsibility. Start with a simple dish. A simple pre-shift meeting might be, "Hey guys, tonight we're featuring a mushroom dish. Lead with the smoked chili sauce. And then, if the guests ask, mention that we use local mushrooms this week." That's enough. Do not lead them into a big, long foray of what they have to talk about. Another great way to sell the dish, as I said before, is, "The chef is really proud of this dish." I never believed that was true, or that the chef is working on this new creation. But guests really enjoy being part of the food journey with us. It's something that could really move people towards that item. Now, we have the menu, the team, and tracking all together. And now we have to take chefs, yourselves, into action tomorrow, right? So this is your tomorrow morning. Already, we're at the halfway point here. So tomorrow, here's what I want you to do. So you're going to move one plant-forward dish to the top of your menu. You're going to rename it using flavor first language. Is everyone clear on what flavor first language is? If you're not, please let me know. I would happily explain it a little bit more if you want in the chat. Oh, I got thumbs up. Seem to be okay. And then brief your team, right? Track your results, review at the end of the week. Oh, some people are no, so I'll give you a little example. So if you were describing something in a dish that was flavor first, instead of saying, like we said, a vegetable stew, I would say we have a tahini and honey glazed chickpea and eggplant melange. Something that gives you a feel, or a smoky greens and pancetta orecchiette. It gives you a feeling and understanding of what the dish is about with using the flavor first, right? Rather than saying locally sourced, carbon friendly, nobody's going to buy it. What they want is to feel that it is a beautiful dish, that it is full flavored, and it is flavor first. That we have to wear a chef's hat first. Before anything, we are the full stop where people believe and will follow what we're doing. So that's it. You want to track your results and then review it at the end of the week, right? So you just need to track one thing. So we don't need chefs to redesign the whole menu this week. We need chefs like you to make one smart change, observe what happens, and build from there. So there's sort of a loop you can use. Instead of just a checklist, I've done this, I've done this, I've done this, I'm done. Make it a loop, right? So observe, what are guests choosing? And then refine one thing, one element, either the name or where it's on the menu, the description, or a feature. Yeah. And then you're going to engage the team with one clear speaking point. You don't want to give them a whole bunch of talk. So that's activating your team. And then you measure one result. really easy with that tracking system, either checking at the pass or having, a bus person ticking it off on a whiteboard, or if you're in a catering place, just count how many were sold based on what you started with, and then evolve with what works and changing what doesn't. So give yourself, this can happen in a month, in a season, or every menu change, right? This can change however you need to. It makes climate smart menu work feel like normal chef development, not like this separate project that you have to work on. This is normal chef development of what we do already. So we are into event activation. So I want you to think about where we can put this all into action. In the Food Choices for Life Info Week in the EU, a climate smart event doesn't need to be huge. It needs to be clear, engaging, and easy for people to participate in. Think less formal lecture like this and more a memorable food experience like we're all around a table together or in a farm together. Here are a few formats that can work with many types of operations. So let's look at, say there is an existing, we have festivals every weekend here, and I'm sure you have them in your space as well. There's a food festival for almost everything. Imagine if you had a small booth there at an existing festival. Do not recreate the wheel. We're not looking to make more work on you. It could feature a climate smart sample, something like a little smoky chickpea bite that is full flavored and lower impact. Or you could be at a farmer's market that happens in your area and have a little pop-up and have just 3 menus at your little pop-up, a plant forward, a protein, and a feature one with the seasonal dish listed first and see how that change happens, right? In a restaurant, you could run a week-long chef featured dish that's climate smart and give the front of the house one line and then track your orders. That's a great way to be a part of things. There's a fun one that's really easy, like a climate basket change. You would invite people in, give the guests imperfect, local, or whole ingredients, and ask them what recipe they would make. A lot of people are stumped and they might not think of things. And then the chef can reveal, that would be you, some creative flavor strategies or waste reduction ideas. And then they could take these ideas home or they can cook them there with you in small groups. That's the basket challenge. Or carbon swap cafe. So say you're in a small place and you do a really great dish and you do a duo for people and one has a climate friendly option with those impacts and the traditional dish. And people are interactive. You can have an online piece where people are posting and they can vote for their favorite. It's getting them engaged and having them be a part of what you do. Another fun one you could do anywhere in a park, in between service. I would love to do it between lunch and dinner service because when you're done all your prep, in your kitchen, a low waste masterclass. So with uses for common leftovers in your area or great substitutions. So if you had subs that you could do for alternatives for people for dishes at home if they didn't have all the ingredients. So a zero waste masterclass lesson plan I've created is going to be available to you after this course as well, because I think that one's really spectacular. You could even bring them into your kitchen and do something like if you had a bunch of leftovers in your kitchen and you bring them into your kitchen and say, here's what we've got left. Can we make anything? A scrap to table workshop. You teach people how to turn onion skins into flavor powders or carrot tops into pesto or stale bread into desserts. You're empowering them with knowledge. Or if you're really great, some of our chefs I know, I love to do it too, is pickling or fermentation. If you have things you have abundance of some products at certain times of year, maybe you show them how to do that locally and what you could do with those things. Or agriculture tours. Take a chef tour with doing a foraging, which I also love. I'm all in for all the food parts. So these are ways that you could teach people and extend beyond your plate. So think of the plate as the middle of where you are, because that's where you sit. And you have all these producers, as we've talked about with Enrico and Sean before you. They are bringing and creating food for you from agriculture, from farms, from policymakers. It comes to you, you decide what they're growing and you decide what people are eating. You are really the center of the plate. I want you to remember this, if nothing else. And when customers come to see you, you are changing their habits beyond the plate, right? No matter the format, which way you want to go with this for a climate smart event, the planning steps are the same. So you're going to decide the food. We always do, right? So we decide food first. We're going to choose something that's either seasonal or plant forward or local or low waste. It doesn't have to be all of these, but it should be one or two of them, right? Then your message is the idea simple enough for guests to repeat on their own. To move beyond your plate in your business with climate action eating after their experience with you. So you want to make sure that message is clear and simple. You don't want to try and overdo things. And then the team, you have to live within your limits. Can they produce what you need? Can they explain it? Can they do it naturally and easily? And it doesn't sound contrived. You want to make sure that it's really simple for people to understand. And your waste, you have to consider, have you planned for enough garbage bins? Do you have reusables? Do you have a composting area if possible? And then impact. What are you going to measure? You can measure sales, you can measure waste, you can measure the number of guests engaged, how many people came to you, or feedback if you let them do it electronically, really easy. And how will you easily track it as a team or as a chef on your own in your own catering place? These questions keep the event from becoming vague. If you go through this list, it turns good intentions into practical activation because you are very specific in what you're doing. So because we're talking about climate smart events, we also need to look at event waste. I'm sure a lot of you have been at places. I'm just going to pop into the question and answers. Nutrition. Second one, but option without making them feel restricted. I like these questions. We're going to come back to them in a minute, I promise. So how do we look at waste, right? So I love the questions that are coming in. Please keep bringing them in. I am going to have time to get to them. We are closing in on what you need for your key takeaways for this. So we will 100% be able to get to some of the nutrition and ideas that you're sharing. So if we're hosting a climate smart food event, the event itself has to reflect your message. That doesn't mean it has to be perfect. It means we plan the obvious things. You have clearly labeled bins. You have recycling at the front and back of the house. People forget at the back house. You could use QR codes instead of printing flyers or tickets or anything. You could have reusable glasses, one they could take home with them. You could even brand them. Then they're going with your logo or serviceware where practical. Set realistic environmental goals and involve your local contractors. So this loops back to what Enrico had said. You want to talk to people who are in the know and do it early so they can help you. There are people with green initiatives in most neighborhoods and most local municipalities that want to help. Then choose one impact area to improve. This keeps the event really credible. It avoids feeling that we're saying one thing and doing another. You want to know what's something that you can do, you can change. We're using all reusable dishes here, and everything you're doing is focused on that. That's fine. That's perfect. It doesn't have to be everything, but it does need to be clear and it does need to be woven through your whole event. So I'll also be giving you, you'll get after this, a list to help you organize your waste management after this webinar. We've got some great tools to share with you, which I'm really excited for you to get through as well. So key takeaways here. So here's a shorter version, right? You assess your current menu, whatever way you're doing it, right? Choose an item that has climate smart potential, and then place it on the menu, either in the golden triangle or in one of those eye magnets, and see where the guests could see it easily, and then track the sales. You want to train the team with that one-line pitch. Share it on social medias. Everyone has mentioned here socials, and that's how people choose food. Sometimes it's how they choose the dish. You want to make sure you're sharing it and then activate it during Climate Week and then repeat the process, right? That's how behavior change starts to build. Not from one perfect event, but from chefs repeating small, intentional actions in many places. So I wanted to look at our questions we have here. So nutrition. This is ideally we are going to, yeah, there's a lot of troubles with obesity and suffering. And when you're looking at sustainability, quite often it goes hand in hand with nutrition. If you're eating whole foods, you're incorporating more plant-based items, more vegetables into your diet, and you're thinking about it in those terms, it's going to naturally become more healthful. You can do that in your own way on your own. That's absolutely a great way to think of doing this. And you encourage guests, someone asked, how do you encourage guests to choose sustainable food options without making them feel restricted? So you can have them, like I said, put them in the prominent area of the menu. You can have them so that it feels like it's a luxury item by how you describe it. That's going to make it, and do not call it the sustainable food option. If you call it that, nobody's going to order it. Well, you might get 1 out of 100 because most people are dining out to enjoy their company, to try something they've never had before, to do something that's a little creative and maybe try it at home later. So the next question was, as chefs, what is the one action that has the greatest impact on reducing food waste during events? Oh my gosh, there are so many. So I love cross-utilization of food. If you could do a dish that is used in 2 or 3 different places, and you can scale it up to do it in large quantity. Not so that you're just doing it for 1 or 2 people or for 10 people, that you could do for 100, that you could do for 1,000. That is going to have your biggest impact, that you can scale it up, right? So that's a way that you can do that. Peter Wren, nice to have you on here. So yes, a sustainable menu is more than just focusing on the ingredients. We need to talk about sustainable development, about meeting the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. So this is union textbook definitions, right? We need to make sure that we're conserving and protecting our resources. Absolutely. These are all essential to doing this. Today, we're looking at how things are managed on your menu. There's one here, how the chefs are managing allergens and guests in sustainable menu. Well, you want to think about what your top allergens are. If you're deciding on something that is got a lot of nuts or a lot of seeds, do you have an alternative? Can you use legumes instead? Can you use dark leafy greens roasted really well? Can you use different techniques like smoking or dehydrating or fermenting? You can add a lot of flavors with different types of techniques, and this is going to help you expand a lot of your sustainable menu choices or your climate-friendly menu choices. And this gives you something that you could teach or share with people really easily. How do you encourage guests to choose? Waste management and carbon footprint should be a part of culinary curriculum. Yeah, it is. So Mandeep, we do have it in our curriculum at Humber where I teach as well. So it should be a part of every curriculum. It should also be a part of what chefs are doing naturally. Understanding where your food comes from and trying to, limit how far you're sourcing food items from is also really important in creating your menu. But this is all great questions. I love, love, love them all coming in. I wanted to acknowledge like this collaborative nature of this project. It is a true collaboration. The partners behind all this work, the chefs, the researchers, the educators, communicators, local communities, organizations working together for this same goal, making climate-friendly food choices easier and more practical every day for everyday people. So we have UFIC, World Chefs, we've got a university and Food Choices for Life and the European Union all on board creating this. We've had amazing world chefs help us with this. Isla and all the team in the office has been amazing to bring this all together. It is not the end. This is not the final part here. So I wanted you to just see this really quickly. Don't get overwhelmed by this. So back in January, we're creating, getting information and finding out what chefs actually do. We sourced from European chefs everywhere and saw, what's happening. This timeline is important because today is not the end of the project. It's one step in a longer journey. So Food Choices for Life is working to engage chefs, citizens, journalists, local administrators, and communities from all across Europe. That doesn't mean everybody can do this. I welcome all of World Chefs that have joined us here today to participate. It is amazing to do this. So in the upcoming week, Info Week in October 2026, this is where chefs can take these ideas into the real world through local activations. Menu features, tastings, pop-ups, demonstrations, community experiences, all the things we talked about. I'm also going to be sending you a list of all different kinds of events that you could do. Then in 2027, Sean, Enrico, and myself are going to build a piece of curriculum that builds on this, giving you more tools and training chefs to help become stronger ambassadors for climate-friendly habits. So this webinar is really a bridge from knowledge to action to wider impact later, right? So I wanted to close this with sort of an image that I put together that brings this journey, with one clear message. So in the past 3 webinars, we've taken a journey together. We started by understanding where chefs fit in the food system. We explored kitchen practices and how they can reduce waste and create more value. And today we focused on the guest, the menu, the dining room, the team, events, and choices people make every day. The influence of chef goes way beyond the plate. That's why your reach goes well beyond the plate. That's why I created this here. You don't need to change everything, and you don't need to do it tomorrow. You need to start with one menu item or one staff line, one small tracking method, one event. These small changes repeated by even all the chefs that are here today can help shape healthier people, stronger communities, and a more sustainable food future. So I want to share this. If you want to follow up, take a snapshot of this here. It makes it really easy for participants, for all of you, to follow up later. If you want to learn more about the Food Choices for Life, here's all the contact details. Share this with your colleagues. Keep an eye out for Info Week activations. And Isla, did you have something you wanted to share? Because I was just going to see if they had any other additional
Just,
questions.
yeah, thank you, Shauna. I think you're
Oh, yeah.
sharing also your notes with us.
Oh,
Maybe you
sugar.
don't want to share. Thank you very much for joining. Yes, as you say, we're going to share very shortly after this with all our audience. We're going to share the Info Week informations. Today we had around 150 people joining us live in Zoom. Thank you, everybody. But from the beginning, from the first episode in July 2nd, we had around 1,000 chefs that registered and joined this big movement. Like they appreciated a lot of Mindful Kitchen, and we are really thankful for your support. So yeah, very soon after we will share with you everything, and thank you for joining. Thank you for your work.
Fabulous. Thank you very much. I had one final thing. If anybody had any questions on sort of what part of this that I've shared today do you feel is easiest to try first? Is there something that you think is easiest to try first? Because I'd love for you to share and say, I'm going to stop this sharing here and just go to this screen because I want to hear from you in the chat. Is there something that you think is really easy for you to try? Ooh. Yeah, renaming a dish or dish tracking. Those are both great. Yeah. Flavor forward dish. Love it. The tracking. Really simple. Yeah, don't make it complicated or you won't stick with it, right? You're too busy. You've got too much on your plate. I know that. And do you see anywhere that there might be resistance from your team? Event activation. That's great. I'm glad you think event activation, Maria, is the easiest one. Anything that you think you might see resistance from your team members? You can put that in the chat as well. Because something might be more difficult. Some might say dish tracking, but that might be easy, might be difficult, right? Mhm. All right, love this, love this. Okay, so the last thing I wanted to ask, because I like to get feedback, I'm very big on that as well, is there a type of way, what do you think you could do to activate this in your circle? What is the event type? What do you think you'd most likely do? This will be my last one, I promise. I won't ask any more of you. The menu psychology trick.
Be a role model myself, someone is saying.
Oh, wow. That's fabulous. I love that, Martin. Menu tracking and repositioning.
Highlight a
Highlighted dish.
dish. Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Workshop.
Workshops. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, doing one of those master classes would be I love love them. I've done them with things like how to make kombucha or how to use leftover bread, and you show people things outside the box. I saw one the other day and I'm going to try it using the garlic skins. If you take the outside of the garlic skin when you peel it and you toast it just a little bit in the oven, then blend it with salt, you've created your own garlic salt. Then add in like dried mushrooms in with it. Now you have an umami seasoning that's boom, and you've stopped wasting your garlic skins. I think it's fabulous, right? It's going to your
Actually,
food.
the workshop is also a great eligible event to join the Info Week in October. So in case you are
Yeah,
planning to do like a workshop or like an open class in a restaurant, you can definitely profit from the Info Week movement and join let's just join all together. But yeah, as I
yeah.
say, after this webinar tomorrow, probably I will share all the information via email with everyone who registered.
Yay. So thank you all for being here, for giving your time, and for choosing to lead to change the way that's practical, generous, and grounded in good food. So start small, keep it practical, and remember if chefs can make the better choice menu more delicious, visible, and easy, we can help change habits well beyond the plate. That
Mm.
is our goal, right? So
Well,
that's it for me. And thank you all for joining us. It has been so fabulous. You've been an engaging audience. I love, love, love the chat and questions. If you have more, most of you will know how to reach out to me. I am on all social platforms and happy to answer if you have questions. And I look forward to seeing you more and how you activate all this great knowledge. Please share and post, and I'd love to hear about it. Thanks, Isla, for everything.
thank you very much, Shauna. A special thank you goes, of course, to you, to Sean, and to Enrico for putting this amazing curriculum together. We've already had some great feedback. I see in the chat and via email, all the chefs seem to have liked this. So thank you very much for your long effort. And in the month of August, I'll be working to translate the 3 videos in 3 languages. Probably will be Spanish, French, and German, and I will share with everyone. So you can share with your network, local network who doesn't necessarily speak English. So we will make it even more accessible in 3 different languages. So a lot of news that you'll hear from me in the past couple of months. So we stay in contact and thank you.
All right. Thanks so much, Isla. I appreciate all your
Bye.
efforts.
Of
It's been a
course.
great day. Enjoy the rest of your day, everyone. We'll talk to you soon.